Hey everyone, welcome back to Coins Dealer. If you're a coin collector, a history buff, or just curious about rare finds, you're in for a treat today. In this video, we're going to take an in-depth look at a seemingly simple coin, the 1995 1-cent coin, also known as the penny. What might seem like a common, insignificant piece of change could actually hold some surprising value in the world of numismatics. Let's dive into its fascinating history, potential value, and why some of these coins are worth much more than their face value. Let's start with the basics. The 1995 penny was minted by the United States Mint and features the classic design created by Victor David Brenner. On the obverse, or the front of the coin, you'll find the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, facing right. Below his image, you'll notice the inscription "In God We Trust," along with liberty, and the year of minting, 1995. On the reverse, we see the words United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, and 1 cent, along with the image of the Lincoln Memorial. This particular design of the penny, featuring the Lincoln Memorial, was minted from 1959 until 2008. When it was replaced by a new reverse design showcasing a Union shield. The 1995 penny is made from a composition of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper, which has been standard since 1982. Now let's rewind a bit and talk about the history of the penny. The U.S. penny was first introduced in 1793, and over the years, its design and composition have evolved. The 1995 1-cent coin, as you already know, was produced in a very specific era. The U.S. economy during the 1990s was experiencing growth. President Bill Clinton was in office, and the U.S. was enjoying a period of prosperity and low inflation. This was a time when the penny was still widely circulated in everyday transactions, despite its face value not matching its actual purchasing power. Interestingly, by the 1990s, debates were already beginning about the penny's future. Many people questioned whether it was worth the cost of producing. It costs more than 1 cent to make a penny, which led to ongoing discussions about phasing out the coin altogether. But here's the thing. While the penny may have been seen as a bit of an inconvenience, its historical significance and deep ties to American tradition kept it in circulation. Now, let's talk about the 1995 penny in terms of value. The coin, in its standard circulated form, is worth exactly 1 cent. That's right, it's still, and has always been, a penny. However, there are a few factors that can make this seemingly ordinary penny worth much more. First, let's take a look at the condition of the coin. Most 1995 pennies you'll encounter in circulation are worn out due to years of handling, so they're typically not worth more than face value. But if you happen to find one that's in excellent condition, such as one with sharp details and no visible signs of wear, it can be worth more to collectors. Now, here's where things get really interesting. There are certain rare 1995 pennies that are worth far more than just 1 cent. For example, a 1995 penny that has been graded as mint state, which means it has been preserved in near-perfect condition, can be worth anywhere from $1 to $3. You might think that doesn't sound like much, but these higher quality examples can be harder to find, especially with the large number of pennies that have been circulated. Now, let's talk about the really rare ones, the kind of pennies that make collectors' hearts skip a beat. In particular, there's something known as the 1995 double die penny. This is a true numismatic gem, and if you find one of these, you could be sitting on a small fortune. What makes the 1995 double die so special is that during the minting process, the coin was struck twice. As a result, the inscriptions on the coin, most notably the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," appear with a noticeable doubling effect. These double die varieties are incredibly rare, and they can fetch upwards of $500 or more in high-grade condition. So, if you're lucky enough to find a 1995 penny with this error, you might want to get it professionally graded by a trusted coin grading service. In some cases, these pennies have sold at auction for thousands of dollars. So, what's the takeaway here? Well, while the 1995 1-cent coin might seem like just another penny in your pocket, it could hold hidden value. If you're a collector, it's worth keeping an eye out for any high-quality, well-preserved 1995 pennies or, even better, any rare double-die varieties. And if you're new to the world of coin collecting, the 1995 penny can be a great starting point to learn about coin grades, errors, and what makes a coin valuable. The market for rare and valuable pennies like the 1995 double die is always changing, so if you're serious about building a collection, staying informed and educated is key. You can find more information on coin values and investing in coin collecting through resources like online marketplaces, numismatic societies, or specialized coin dealers. If you're wondering where you might come across a valuable 1995 penny, you can start by looking through your spare change, especially if you happen to have old coins lying around. Checking your piggy bank, jar of spare change, or even checking with local banks can be an easy way to find hidden treasures. If you're a serious collector, you may also want to explore local coin shops or online auctions to find higher-grade 1995 pennies or ones with rare varieties. To wrap things up, the 1995 1-cent coin may seem like a tiny, insignificant piece of change, but it has a rich history and, in some cases, a big value. Whether you're a casual coin enthusiast or a seasoned collector, it's always worth keeping an eye out for those rare, mint-condition pennies, and of course, the elusive 1995 double die. Thanks for tuning in, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1995 penny, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and leave us a comment with your thoughts or questions about rare coins. Until next time, happy collecting! While it may seem like just another common coin, there's a lot more to this little copper-plated piece of history than you might think. We'll dive into its history, its value, and why some of these coins could be worth a lot more than you'd expect. Let's start with the basics. The 1996 penny, like most pennies from the 20th century, features the iconic design of President Abraham Lincoln. On the obverse, or the front, you'll find Lincoln's portrait, as designed by artist Victor David Brenner. This design has been used on the penny since 1909, and it includes the inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, and of course, the year 1996. On the reverse, you'll see the familiar image of the Lincoln Memorial, with the words United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, and 1 cent. The composition of the 1996 penny is made up of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper. This blend became standard in 1982, when the U.S. Mint shifted away from the original bronze composition due to rising copper prices. So, while the penny is small, it still packs a lot of history and value in its design and production. Let's take a quick trip back to 1996 to understand the context in which this coin was minted. The year 1996 was a unique time in American history. Bill Clinton was serving his first term as president, and the U.S. was experiencing a period of strong economic growth. Unemployment was at a relatively low rate, and the economy was booming. However, there were already discussions about the future of the penny, as the rising cost of minting it was starting to become a concern. By the mid-1990s, many people were beginning to question whether it was worth continuing to produce the penny. The cost to make a penny was more than 1 cent, due to the rising prices of raw materials. Some experts even suggested eliminating the penny altogether. However, the U.S. Treasury kept producing pennies, partly because they remained an important part of American culture and everyday transactions. Now, let's talk about the value of the 1996 penny today. In general, the 1996 penny is still worth exactly 1 cent in everyday transactions. However, just like any coin, its value can fluctuate based on its condition, rarity, and the collector market. Most of the 1996 pennies you'll come across will be in circulated condition, meaning they have been used in daily commerce, and as a result, they're generally worth no more than their face value. But what happens if you have a 1996 penny that's in pristine condition? Well, high-grade, uncirculated 1996 pennies can be worth a little more than just 1-cent coins that are in mint condition, like those graded MS-65 or higher, could fetch anywhere from $1 to $5, depending on the quality and demand. These pennies are much harder to find in perfect condition, which makes them more valuable to collectors. Now, let's talk about the really rare and valuable 1996 pennies. While the typical 1996 penny is worth only 1 cent, there are some rare varieties that have been spotted, and they can be worth far more. One of the most notable rarities is the 1996 double-die penny. This is a coin with an error that occurred during the minting process. The result? A visible doubling of the inscriptions, particularly the word liberty and in God we trust. If you find a 1996 penny with this error, hold on to it. A 1996 double-die penny in mint condition can be worth hundreds of dollars, depending on the extent of the doubling and the overall condition of the coin. Some of these rare specimens have sold for as much as $500 or even more in auctions. If you're an experienced collector, or even a beginner with a sharp eye, you might just come across one of these hidden treasures. Remember, this is a rare error, so don't expect to find one in every roll of pennies you check. But if you happen to come across one, it could be your ticket to a valuable coin. Another key point to keep in mind is that there are multiple varieties of the 1996 penny, based on where it was minted. The U.S. Mint produces pennies at different facilities, and each one has a distinctive mint mark. The 1996 penny was minted at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and the mint mark can make a difference in its rarity and value. The D mint mark signifies that the coin was produced at the Denver mint, while a lack of mint mark indicates it was struck in Philadelphia. In terms of value, there's no significant difference between the two types, but collectors often seek specific varieties based on rarity, so the Denver minted 1996 pennies may hold a little more appeal to some collectors. However, either is especially rare, so either commands astronomical prices. Whether you're an experienced collector or just starting out, the 1996 penny can be an interesting coin to add to your collection. As we've seen, the typical 1996 penny is worth only its face value, but high-grade and error coins like the double-die penny can be highly valuable. If you're looking to find valuable 1996 pennies, you don't need to spend a fortune. You can start by looking through your spare change, searching through old coin jars, or checking with local banks for rolls of pennies that may contain uncirculated specimens. Collectors also often search online auction sites or visit local coin shops to find valuable examples. If you're just getting into coin collecting, the 1996 penny can be a great coin to start with, as it's both affordable and relatively easy to find. To wrap things up, the 1996 penny may be small in size, but it packs a punch in terms of history and potential value. From its classic design to rare varieties like the double-die error, this humble coin holds many surprises for collectors. Whether you're just looking for some interesting pieces to add to your collection or hunting for that one rare, valuable penny, the 1996 penny is one you'll want to keep an eye on. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video helpful or interesting, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment with any questions or thoughts about rare coins you've come across. Until next time, happy hunting! The 2000 D 1-cent coin was produced by the United States Mint, and it's part of the regular series of pennies minted during the year 2000. The D mint mark tells us that this particular penny was struck at the Denver Mint. The 2000 penny features the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. Around Lincoln's image, you'll see the inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, and 2000, marking the year of minting. On the reverse side of the coin, we have the classic Lincoln Memorial design. This design was used on the penny from 1959 until 2008 and was created by Frank Gasparo. The reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial, and around it, you'll find the words United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, and of course, 1 cent. If you've been a collector or just noticed pennies in circulation over the years, this is a design you're probably very familiar with. Now, let's take a moment to step back into the year 2000 and understand the context of when this coin was minted. The United States was experiencing a period of growth and optimism. Bill Clinton was in the final year of his second term as president, and the economy was booming. This was a time of rapid technological advancements and the beginning of the digital age. In fact, in 2000, the dot-com bubble was at its peak. But there was something interesting happening with coins at this time too. The year 2000 was a transitional year for U.S. coinage, as it marked the tail end of the century. There were also some changes to the minting process. The United States Mint was preparing to introduce a new series of designs for the penny, starting in 2009, but the 2000 penny was still using the classic Lincoln Memorial reverse design. This was the last of the traditional pennies before the Mint began experimenting with new designs for the next generation of U.S. coinage. Now, let's talk about the value of the 2000 penny in circulation. For most people, the 2000 penny is just another everyday coin, worth only 1 cent. And in general, that's true. You'll find 2000 pennies all around, and in circulated condition, they're not worth more than face value. But here's the interesting part. If you happen to have a 2000 penny that's in excellent condition, it can be worth more than just a penny. Pennies that have been well preserved and have little to no wear are often more valuable to collectors. So, uncirculated 2000 pennies, or those graded as MS-65 or higher, can fetch anywhere from $1 to $3, depending on the demand and overall quality. If you find a gem quality example of this coin, it's definitely worth holding on to. Keep in mind that even in these higher grades, 2000 pennies are still relatively common, so they may not fetch a huge premium. But as with all collectibles, if you have a large quantity of well-preserved coins, the value can add up. Now, let's talk about the real treasures. You may have heard that some modern coins, like the 2000 penny, can be worth much more than just their face value. And yes, there are rare varieties of the 2000 penny that can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. If you happen to find a 2000 wide AM penny, especially in high grade, you could be looking at a coin worth anywhere from $100 to $500 or more. In some cases, high-grade examples of this era coin have sold for over $1,000 at auctions. So, if you're a coin collector, be sure to examine your 2000 pennies carefully. You never know when you might stumble upon one of these rare, highly prized varieties. Beyond the wide AM era, there are other slight variations and errors that can occur with the 2000 penny. Some collectors focus on finding coins with unique minting flaws, like double strikes, off-center strikes, or even die cracks. While these errors might not always be worth as much as the wide AM penny, they can still be valuable to the right buyer, especially if they're in good condition. The thing to keep in mind is that, even though these errors are interesting and valuable, the vast majority of 2000 pennies you'll come across will be fairly standard. Still, as with all coin collecting, it's important to keep your eyes peeled for something unusual or different. You never know when you might come across a hidden gem. Now that you know a bit about the history and value of the 2000 penny, you may be wondering where you can find these valuable coins. The good news is that 2000 pennies are still pretty common and can be found in rolls of pennies, coin jars, or even just digging through your spare change. If you're looking for higher grade examples, your best bet is to check out local coin shops or online auction sites, where you might find uncirculated or even rare era varieties like the wide AM penny. Coin collecting is a fantastic hobby that combines the thrill of hunting for rare finds with the joy of learning about history. Whether you're looking for high-quality examples or rare errors, the 2000D penny is a great coin to add to your collection. And who knows? You might just end up with a piece that's worth a lot more than a penny. So, there you have it. The 2000D penny may look like just another common coin, but with rare varieties like the wide AM and potential minting errors, it could be worth a lot more than you think. Whether you're just starting your coin collection or you're already a seasoned expert, this coin is definitely worth keeping an eye on. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 2000D penny, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more coin content, and leave us a comment with any thoughts or questions. Until next time, happy collecting!